Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you listen to this first in a series of 10 lectures on the Middle East. The title of this lecture series is The Middle East on the Move, Forward or Backwards. This series is an in-depth political review and analysis of the ever-changing dynamics in the world's most strategic yet most volatile region, which its future will affect not only the region's inhabitants, but likely all of us. My name is Amnon Zohar, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you my lived experience and studied knowledge of the region you hear so much about, the Middle East. Just a few more words about myself. Amnon is a biblical name, first son born to King David in the Old Testament. I was born and educated in Israel, which at the time was known as the British Mandate over Palestine. Just to be sure, this doesn't make me a Palestinian. I was still born in Israel, and I'm a graduate of the Israeli Military Academy for Computer Science. I'm a member of the first generation of the Israeli high-tech industry. I'm a retired business entrepreneur, and I'm presently an author, speaker, and lecturer on global affairs with an emphasis on the Middle East, my favorite topic. After my retirement, I studied political science at York University and international relations and Islamic studies at Tel Aviv University. And as a champion of lifelong learning, I have for the past 4 years created and delivered many courses for several learning institutions and community centers in the GTA. All that being said, my life achievement, though, is depicted right here on this slide when I was unanimously voted the most valuable Saba by my 7 grandchildren. This lecture series is designed to not just inform members of the important developments in the Middle East, but more importantly, it is designed to empower members to independently interpret the context and the consequences of such developments and be able to predict the direction in which they will impact the Middle East in the future, forward or backwards. We're going to review the Middle East in a counterintuitive order. First, we're going to look to the future. Second, we're going to go to the past and understand the origins of the Middle East, and only then we will go forward and examine the development in each of the countries in the Middle East and the effect that they would have on the direction and future of the region. In the first lecture, we will paint 2 possible scenarios of the future of the Middle East: forward toward peace and prosperity through regional cooperation and collaboration to address its collective existential challenges, foremost climate change and resource scarcity, or backwards, descending into more conflicts, civil wars, famine, poverty, and humanitarian crisis. In the next lecture, we will examine the origins of the modern Middle East, dating back to the end of World War I and the fall of the Ottoman Empire, and the subsequent reconfiguration of the region by the colonial powers of Britain and France into what some will say are artificial borders of new nation states, the source of most of the conflicts that characterize the region for the past 100 years. In subsequent lectures, we will examine the latest development in different countries in the region to understand why they're happening now, but more importantly, what does it mean for the future trajectory of the Middle East? And once again, forward or backwards. During the lectures, we expect that you will have some questions or comments, or may need some clarification, or would like to offer some feedback. I invite you to send them to me by email no later than midnight on the Monday following the Friday release of the lecture in question. send it to azohar.amnon@gmail.com. I will respond to your collective questions in writing by the end of day Tuesday following. So now, if we are ready, let's begin. By the way, for those of you who may think that 10 lectures on the Middle East may be an overdose, this is for you. I will summarize the lecture series in just 3 words. Anything and everything that is happening or will be happening in the Middle East can be understood through these 3 words: oil, waterways, and religion. So why then spend so much time understanding the Middle East? Simply because of the nature, the history, the traditions, the rituals of the region. It is complicated. Most of what you read or hear or watch about the Middle East, you are well advised to remember that more often than not, what you see is not what it is, and what you hear is not what is meant. This lecture series goes behind the curtain. So as we said, the Middle East is on the move. New developments are occurring in lightning speed, every day, every week, every month. If you fly over the Middle East and look down on the region, you will immediately recognize that the status quo is barely manageable and most definitely unsustainable. The dynamics in the Middle East are constantly in motion. It may go forward towards solving its existential challenges, or it could go backwards, descending into more wars, conflicts, and humanitarian and environmental crises. What we're trying to do is understand what may either scenario look like, what needs to happen for either scenario to prevail and accelerate, and what do we need to know to recognize progress in each direction. That's our mission for this lecture. 2021 was the most consequential year in the Middle East since the Arab Spring of 2011. Before we begin to paint the 2 scenarios, forward or backwards, we need to contextualize the major developments that occurred in 2021. First, these that bode well for a positive direction, and then those that may drag the region down to further escalation of regional conflicts.